Hey guys, thanks for checking in again. We're going to be using the red ball this week again. If you don't have one, that's fine. It doesn't have to be red either. There are a few out there on the market. There's a Bender ball that's green. There are blue ones, whatever. It doesn't have to be red. But if you have one, go ahead, get it set. We're going to be using it. If you don't have one, it's fine. Again, you can use a rolled up towel, a pillow. Someone even used a water bottle. Very inventive. So whatever works for you. If you don't want to have that extra prop, just ditch it. It's okay, we'll work through it. One thing I want to kind of focus on today is our breathing, because some of us are double masking now. And that's a lot, it's a lot on our faces, and I know we're not filling our lungs completely and we're not exhaling completely. So I want to, again, if I can remember, to kind of cue it for us to think of our breathing that way, that we really want to get a nice inhale and a nice full exhale too. So that's just kind of one of the focuses that I want to work on this week. Also continuing with some stretching that is going to be maybe are going to be some things that you can do during the week while you're sitting at your desk or once you are done with your workday. So we're going to start our feet as usual. I can't think of a better way to say that, but that's what we're doing. So I want you to lift onto the tippy toes, and then flex and come back down. So some of this footwork that we do, sometimes the toes don't cooperate. If you look down at your feet, that does help sometimes because it gives us a visual connection to what's really going on down there. So I am going to look down at my feet, just kind of make sure I'm all right. We're going to lift the toes up and spread them way out. So get a little stretch. Big stretch if you can, and then let's tap and lift the big toes first. And then we're just going to press down and stretch all the others out. So sometimes looking at them, again, gives you that connection. Also, sometimes we think we're doing something and we're not really. So, okay, let's lift them all up, take them all down, squeeze your mat, and then release and lift, stretch them out again and spread them out. Okay, so we're going to do that again. Stretch, stretch, stretch. Now this time we're going to push the little toes down. And let's just tap and lift the little toes. If you're just starting with this strange footwork, just know the more you practice this, the better you'll get. You'll get some of that flexibility in the muscles in the feet and toes. Now press those little ones down. Now let's try this. Let's see if we can keep the little ones pressed down and then bring the bigs down. And try to stretch out all the ones in the middle. Sometimes it works and sometimes not. Okay, take them all up, take them all down, squeeze the floor again. And then we're going to roll to the ball of one foot. We'll press down into that foot and then lower and lift. Get down and lower and lift. Stay on the ball and then roll it. I don't know if you guys can hear all the snow plows out there, but they're coming through. So that might be a little distracting. Come back to center and then come up and over. Get that stretch. Keep your core engaged. And then switch. We're going to roll to the ball of the foot, lower and lift. And then stay up and do a little rock. And come over and stretch. Okay, so anchor your feet, find a comfortable stance. If your feet are wider, you'll have a little more stability. We're just going to go through an arm raise sequence here. So as the arms come up, feel like the shoulders kind of slide down and back. And at the top here, we're going to rotate our arms so our palms face away from us. And then we're going to press down. And then raise back up. So let's start thinking about our breath. We're going to inhale as we come up. And then we're going to exhale as we come down. So as you exhale, feel the belly lift. Get all of that air out of your lungs. Inhale, raise. Nice big inhale. And then exhale, back down. Just a couple more. And start feeling the shoulders maybe loosen up a little bit. Notice where you're tight. Don't force that range of motion, but just kind of recognize what it is for you today. Every day is different. Rotate the arms away. Now we're going to keep the arms coming down, and we're going to start moving them back behind our hips. And we're going to lace the fingers together and lift for a chest stretch. So the chest stretch translates to an upper back extension. And if you can, stretch your arms back behind you. So if you have some shoulder issues and this is not feeling comfortable, don't do it as usual, but let's just lift that chest, see where you can go. We're gonna let our hands come toward our hips, release, and roll the shoulders. Okay, so let's stay in that comfortable stance. Raise the arms back up, and then we're gonna hold one wrist with the other hand. I'm gonna try not to cue left and right because you might be opposite of me. So just reach away from the hand that you're holding. Lift up tall, come through the center, we're gonna switch. So it's almost like we're pulling our arm a little bit longer, anchor that opposite foot. Lift up top, we're gonna do that again. So we're gonna inhale as we side bend over. Exhale as you lift up tall. And switch one more time, side bend. Inhaling. Lift. Now I want you to exhale, bring the arms down, bring your chin toward the chest, and we're gonna go in for a roll down. Just take it down and pause here. So here comes some more deep breaths. As you inhale, I want you to feel your inhaling and filling up your back. And then as you exhale, feel like you're lifting your belly away from the mat, causing the spine to round a little bit more. So let's do that again. Big inhale, fill up your back. Exhale, lift the belly, rounding your back even more. Sort of like a standing cat pose. Inhale. And exhale. So we've got that rounding in our spines, lifting our bellies up. And as we exhale, we're reaching our chests toward the legs to deepen the bend of our spine. So when we're in cat, we're down on our hands and knees doing this same bend of the spine. And then from here, we're gonna keep our bellies lifting and then roll back up, let your shoulders slide down the back. And then just come up to standing and roll your shoulders. Okay, so we're gonna start with the red ball or green or whatever color yours is, or your towel, and extend our arms out front. So I'm just lightly holding the ball and I'm gonna get some shoulder rolls here. So let's go on an angle. So I'm reaching them forward, pulling them up and sliding them down and back. So as I do this, I'm adding movement up here, but I'm keeping my core engaged because that's kind of supporting me here, it's helping me keep my balance. And then let's draw the shoulders down. So the ball is still out. We're gonna squeeze the ball with one hand. It doesn't matter which one. And then spread the fingers out of the other hand and press back for a big stretch. And then switch the ball in front, squeeze, and then open back out. If you don't have a ball, just do your arms. Good, so we're just gonna open and close here. Core, stay engaged. Okay, the next time the arms are open, we're gonna hold here. I want you to push back a little farther, rotate so your palms face behind you, and then press back. We're gonna switch the ball back behind our hips. Keep the chest open. So not unlike the lacing of the fingers that we did earlier. And then switch. Again, if there's no ball, that's okay. Just move your arms. Opening the chest, getting the arms a little longer. Okay, we're gonna do one more. Hold onto the ball with both hands or lace your fingers together if you can. Press away, lift the chest, extend the upper back. We're gonna slowly turn our heads to one side. Whichever one you choose, does not matter. And then come back through center, go the other way. And back to center. Now we're gonna take the ball into one hand. So I've got it in the right, I'm gonna place it against my right leg, raise the left arm up and side bend over. Just hold this side bend for a second. So our opposite foot is anchored. We're getting length on that bending side. And we're gonna lift up tall and come back to center. Take it over and hold. Hold the ball, rotate so your palm is up. Now keep your side bend, and we're gonna raise up, let the ball tap your hand and come back down. And lift. Keep your side bend, unless this is bothering you. Then go back to the center. We're gonna do one more. Take it up and hold. Reach up all the way, lift up tall. Keep your right arm up, take the left hand down, side bend over. So we get our side bend, shoulders are down, lift. And now we go back over, hold it, get really long on that side, the free hand side, push your foot down into the mat, Now hold on to the ball. We're gonna rotate the whole arm, and then we're gonna stretch and lift. Let the ball come up and meet that top hand. Don't rush through it. Go slow so you're controlling in both directions. And 3, good, 2 more. Cores stay engaged. The ball is coming up. We're gonna lift up taller, come to center, take it down, and then roll the shoulders out. Okay, guys, put the ball away for now. We're gonna walk to the back of our mats and do a roll down. And lucky for all of us, I remembered my timer today. So our goal is gonna be to hold a plank for a minute. Don't be afraid. You can do this. You can make a modification and come down to the knees. If you wanna do that, you can push back into child's pose, whatever's gonna work. So first, 1 roll down, walk out into plank, come back up, and then we're taking it down. We're gonna hold for a minute. Anchor your feet. Inhale, raise the arms. So reach them up towards your ears, extend your upper back, add a nice big stretch there. And then we're coming right through center, ears and arms in line, bending the spine. So here's that spinal bend again, lifting the belly. Find your end range. You can bend your knees, get your hands to the mat if you need to, and then we'll walk it out. So long arm plank, set it up. Shoulders come down, bellies lift. Squeeze your legs, squeeze your glutes. Press your fingertips and thumbs into the mat. Lift the belly. Pike your hips up, start to shift your weight back to the heels. So feel your heels reach to the mat. And then we're gonna walk our hands into our feet. And it's okay if the feet and legs are separated. Round the bellies, lift. Raise your arms out to the sides. Take them up. Upper back extension. And then down we go. Okay, so here's our goal, to hold it for a minute. But before we walk out, we're gonna get our balance here at the bottom. Decide if you wanna do elbows and forearms or straight arms. And then here we go, coming out. I'm going elbows and forearms. Get yourself set. The muscles are engaged. So whatever is on the mat, I want you to push into that. So we're trying to avoid sagging. We're trying not to let the back sag down. So the muscles around the hips are working. We're pressing our feet into the mat, hands, fingertips and thumbs if you've got your hands down like that. So here's the option. If you need to take a little break, you can take your knees down, still working those same core muscles. And extend. Okay, we're halfway there. Hold on, bellies lift. Think of the chest being open. And we're still breathing, for sure. Don't hold your breath. Push into the mat. Squeeze your legs. Squeeze your glutes. Okay, 5 more seconds. 4, 3, 2, and 1. Okay, knees down, guys. And then we're gonna reach our hips back into child's pose. So don't just plop down on your heels. Make it an active stretch. So you're reaching your tailbone away from the crown of your head. And then let your forehead come down to the mat. Or stacking your hands, you can rest your forehead or maybe even the kind of hairline, I guess, on your hands. Okay, so we're going to focus on that breathing again for a second. And because we're over our legs, the fronts of our bodies are kind of compressed. So that gives the oxygen, it forces it into our back, like into the back of our lungs. So I want you to take a big breath in and feel your back expand. And then as you exhale, feel like you're going to try to lift your belly up off your legs. And again, the inhale is the expansion of the back. Picture your ribs just stretching away from each other. And exhaling, feeling the belly lift. And get a full exhale. When you think you're done, keep going. Blow more out. And let's go one more time. Big inhale. I'm trying not to do it too loud because of the microphone. And then exhale, feel the belly lift. Okay, we're gonna walk our arms out in front of us, stretch them out, spread out your fingers and thumbs, and lift your chest a little. Shoulders come down. And we can do that inhale here. This time we got a little bit more room in the front body Might feel more go into the chest. And for our side bend from here, we're going to take our right arm off the mat, and then the left, bring the chest down toward the legs. Now our inhale is going to be directed into the left lung. Feel the left ribs stretch away from each other as you inhale. And get that full exhale. Keep going. Lift the chest up, walk it through center, and then off the mat to the left. Bring the chest down. Now we've got a big stretch for the right side. So picture that you're kind of compressing the left side of your body. You're stretching the right, creating more room for that oxygen into the lung on the right side. And then lift your chest up, come through center, and come back down into child's pose. One more stretch from here. Bring your arms way out in front of you. Shift your weight forward to hands and knees. And then set your hands under the shoulders. Spread the fingers and thumbs way out. Set your knees under your hips. Okay, so when we were doing that standing roll down, I referenced being like cat. So that's what we're going to do first. Start in neutral spine. We're going to lift the belly up and let your pelvis start to roll under you, rounding your back. So this is that same feeling of the curve in our spine that we had when we were standing. So we're looking back at our legs, our hips, bending our spine as much as we can. And then we're going to reverse that. So the tailbone lifts and the low back drops and the chest lifts. Now from here, I want you to take a big inhale. So fill the chest. We've got that room now. It's expanding. Inhale. And then as you exhale, start to lift the belly, round the spine, rounding. Exhale, pull in from the lower abdominals. And reverse it. Inhale. And exhale, lift the belly. Okay, if I'm going too slow or too fast for you, you go at your own pace. We're going to do just a couple more before we get into some ab work, but what I want you to think about is seeing if you can do the inhale and exhale through your nose. And lift, pull, blow it out. One more time to cow, which is when we lift the tail, drop the low back, lift the chest. And let's come right back to neutral. Okay, so let's work into a seated position, starting with the red ball, or green, or whatever color. Maybe I'll try not to say that. Okay, guys, so the ball's gonna be at our thighs, not right on the knee for that pressure. Give a squeeze, hands go to the shins. We sit up nice and tall, and then look at your feet. So see if you can get them right under the knees. And see if you can anchor the big toe side of the foot. I don't mean rolling in like that, but most of us roll out, right? So we want to work some of the muscles in the inner thighs, inner calves, even the muscles in our feet, in our arches. Okay, so if we can keep the big toe side anchored as much as we can, that's going to help some of that muscle development. Okay, hands on the shins. Pull the belly in, roll it back, and then use your arms, bring yourself right back up. And pull in and come back up. So we are rounding our spines for sure when we come down. We're leading with the lowest part of our backs and then coming back up and roll it. And up, let's go one more time. Roll back. Good, and hold, shoulders come down. Squeeze the ball. Check your toes, anchor them. We're gonna raise the arms to about shoulder height. And then we're gonna roll back and get to a spot where you're working for sure, but you know that you can get back up. So we're just gonna pause here for a second. As I go down more, I feel my pelvis rolling. So let it roll under you. If you are not as far as I am, that's okay. Go to wherever you are today. Squeeze the ball, pull in the belly, come back up, and then restack your spine. Squeeze. Here we go again. So we pull in the belly, we roll down, we let the lower abdominals support our low back, let the hips roll under. Yeah, and then hold. Squeeze that ball and curl back up. You're starting from here, rolling and coming up. Let's go again. Go on the side angle a little bit. Great, hold it. Find that spot. You might be going, maybe you can get a little lower each time. Or not, it's okay. Pull in and roll. We're gonna do 2 more like this. Take it back. So it's rolling under. I'm trying to keep my big toes down, curving into the spine and up. And then here comes the last one like this. Squeeze that ball, squeeze it. And hold. Roll it up. Okay. Transition your hands back behind your thighs. Roll. Find the spot when your arms are straight and hold there for a second. Okay, now you can continue to hold behind your legs, or you can take the arms up. We're gonna really slowly go down to almost the waistband, almost, and hold. Feel those abs working. If you're starting to arch like this, just hold on, take it down, and come all the way. Okay, we're gonna try and stay in flexion, so our chests are lifted. We're gonna drag in the feet and raise them up. Reach your arms along your side, squeeze your fingers together, and we're gonna pump the arms. So the rest of the body is staying really still, and we're just hinging at the shoulder socket. Arms are squeezing to make those muscles do the work. Okay, so usually we do the inhale for 5 counts and exhale for 5 counts, but I was talking too much, so I wasn't counting. But what we're trying to do is reach the ball toward the chest. Now squeeze that ball, squeeze, pump the arms. Squeeze, squeeze. If you're feeling neck strain, take your hands back behind your head. Okay, reach your arms long. We're gonna take our feet all the way to the mat, and then our shoulders and heads come down. Okay. Take the ball out. You're gonna hold it in your hand. I'm gonna hold it in my opposite hand so you guys can see what I'm doing with my spine. But so arms are long at our sides, and we're gonna let our pelvis tilt into a pelvic tilt, and we're gonna roll up into bridge. So in bridge here, we've got that long diagonal going from the shoulder through the hips out the knees. So we've got a nice stretch here, but glutes are squeezing. And now we're gonna take the red ball and put it underneath our hips. It might mean walking your feet in a little to get that hiked up, and then we're gonna settle our hips right back down onto the ball. So we wanna make sure that the ball is not at the arch of the low back, but instead it's back behind the hips and tailbone area. And sometimes I've gotta move around a little bit and get it in the right spot. And then also, it depends on the size of the ball and the size of your butt. If you have a hard time getting it under there right away, just take a second and get yourself organized, and then kind of come back to center. So what I want you to do is walk your knees and feet together so they're touching. So your little ankle bones are touching if that works for you, and your knees, and then bring your arms down to your sides. Press the hips down into the ball, and you'll feel your core engage here. And your arms can help stabilize. And now you're gonna start to let your feet be light, and you're gonna bring your knees up here into tabletop. So again, if you don't have a ball, that's fine. Just lay flat on your mat and bring your knees to tabletop. If you got this ball in here, it's unstable. That's the point, really, working our balance here. So just keep your knees in tabletop. And I want you to think about your rib cage. Think of the back ribs kind of dropping down toward the mat. And then what happens is that the ribs pull together in the front. So you've got a little more stability there. And we're just gonna pause. And then stretch your legs up to the ceiling. So hammies stretch, quads engage, and we work on our balance. Cores are still active because we're pressing our hips down into the mat. We're gonna keep our right leg up, and we're gonna let our left leg stretch down. Let it come almost all the way to the mat. So you've got to stretch for the front of the left hip, and your right hammies are stretching because you're pulling that leg toward your body. And then we're gonna do a slow scissor. Let's switch and stretch. If this is cranking into your low back, you may want to reset the ball or else just get rid of it completely. But we want to make sure that you can handle this by keeping your core engaged. So if it's not working for you, just ditch it. And then we're going to just scissor our legs carefully, right? You want to stay on the ball. You want to keep your core engaged. You might kick yourself like I just did. So when the legs pass each other, think of them almost touching. Just try not to kick yourself. But what's happening then is we're establishing that midline, that middle, right through the middle of the body, where both sides are working to, even muscle development. We're working both sides equally. That's the word I wanted, equal. Okay, let's take both legs up to the ceiling. Bring them together. We're gonna let the knees drift in toward our chest. Don't cross your ankles. Keep your knees together. And we're gonna press both legs out away from us and pull back in. Keep them together. Working the midline, along the midline, working the inner thighs to keep those knees from slinging out to the sides. So I'm just pushing out on an angle. And you might be up here, or you might be a little lower, depending on what your core will support. So again, you don't want to feel yourself arching, your low back arching away from the mat. You want the hips to stay steady, still on the ball. Okay, bring the knees in. A little active recovery here. So you're still working on balance. We're gonna keep our right knee in toward our chest and stretch out our left leg. And then we're gonna switch. So for single leg stretch, on the ball, right? So just push the back of your shoulder blades, back of your rib cage down toward the mat. That'll give you a little more stability. Obviously, I'm not counting. So we're just gonna keep going. Just work on that stability of the pelvis, keeping your balance. Let's go one more set. Bring both knees in and a little active recovery. Okay, we've got one more set that's really gonna challenge balance. Now I'm feeling I need to adjust myself on the ball a little bit. Also, sometimes when I'm here, I find that little plug and push it in to make sure that it's not gonna deflate. Okay, let's take the legs to the ceiling. And then feel that back rib cage come down toward the mat, core is engaged. Bend your arms at your elbows and turn so your palms face each other. Your anchor point now is gonna be back behind the shoulder blades and hips on the ball. Let's raise our arms so they're coming straight up and our shoulders are down. And then we're gonna start to lower our arms back toward our ears, working on balance, keeping your core engaged. Don't take them all the way to the floor. And if they don't get to the ears, that's okay. And then raise them back up. I want you to just keep that feeling of being connected from the underarm to underarm, right across the back. And then lift. One more with just the arms. If this is not working for you and you're flying all over the place, just take your arms all the way down, or else get rid of the ball and try both arms and legs. Okay, arms are gonna stay, and now here come the legs. We're keeping them together. Again, always establishing that midline of the body, and then raise up. Your range depends on, number one, obviously, staying on the ball. And number two, not arching your low back and not pushing, number three, not pushing the belly to the ceiling so you find your range. Okay, guys, now we're gonna do both. So arms and legs come away from the middle of the body. Reach, reach, reach. Keep the underarms reaching towards your hips, and then we're gonna lift both arms and legs back to the ceiling. Just two more. Reach and stretch away. Try not to push the belly to the ceiling. Good, and then one more. And lift. Okay, turn your palms to face your legs. Take your arms all the way down to the mat. And we're gonna let our knees come in. Little active recovery again. Still working on a little balance on the ball. Separate your knees and feet to about hip distance and bring your knees into tabletop. Okay, one little short sequence here. We're using the right leg first. We're gonna point the right foot, tap the toe down, bring it back up, right leg again. We're gonna do just 5 with each leg. If you need to get off this ball, go ahead. One more with the right, and then we'll switch. Trying to keep that right angle bend at the knee. I don't know if I have mine or not, but let's hope, hopefully. 2 more. And then we'll just keep the left foot down on the mat. And then bring the right down. Now walk your feet in a little toward your hips. Push down into both feet evenly. Push your hips up. Don't worry about the ball yet. Just get a nice stretch in the front of the hip. So your hip extensors are working. And then with your hips up, we're going to take the arms up overhead just for a long stretch here. Keep pressing into your feet. Pushing the hips up. And then arms to the ceiling and back down to your sides. And then we'll take the ball out. So most likely means hiking the hips up. And then we'll roll our spines down to the mat. Okay, tuck your ball away. We're gonna bring knees into our chest. So reach for your shins or back behind your thighs and just get a little side rock. Okay, so that's a lot of stabilizing work on the low back. So we're gonna do this stretch here to kind of counterbalance that. So let your tailbone lift up off the mat. Use your arms, pull in. So you're really stretching into the low back, and you can do a little side rock here, and you'll feel the muscles surrounding your spine kind of pressing into the mat, like a little massage. Great, and then we'll come back to center and bring our feet to the mat. Now we're gonna take our arms overhead. Nice big stretch here. So legs stretching out, squeezing together, and then we're gonna take our hands and stack them and put them back behind our heads. And you should feel the tailbone anchored on the mat and the back of your rib cage and shoulder blades down on the mat. And should be a little space between the waistband of your pants and the mat itself. So that tells you that your pelvis is in neutral. Okay, guys, we're gonna bring our chins toward our chests and then just do a little chest lift here. So we're not trying to get really high. We just wanna engage the very, very deep layer of abdominal muscle. So we're not getting a big flex, but we're adding a little flexion in our spine, enough for that to kick in. And kind of look down the line of your body. And then we're gonna bring our shoulders and heads back down. And do that again. So we kind of zip up the abs, we flex the spine, being careful not to lead with the face and chin. We want our heads pressing back into our hands, and then we're gonna come back down. Let's do a couple more. Don't force that range of motion, just adding a little bend and a chest lift. Great. Okay, we're gonna take it up and hold. Shoulders are down. We're gonna flex our left ankle, point our right foot, and lift that right leg. And we're keeping our flexion unless it's bothering your neck or back. Two more. Take the foot all the way down. Take your shoulders and heads down. And then we got one more little round. We lift the belly, lift the chest. Flex the right ankle, point the left foot, and we lift and lower. You'll notice which leg has stretchier hammies, probably. Now the goal is to keep the leg lifting and lowering without moving the hips around. So it does not matter how high you lift. Just want to keep steady. I think two more. Maybe that's 10. And then take it all the way down, and we're gonna take our shoulders and heads down. Now slide your feet in and bring them into your chest. We're gonna do one more stretch. I'm on a creaky spot on my floor, I think. Okay, guys, from here, we're gonna add on to our ab sequence. So we're gonna leave our right knee in toward our chest. We're gonna stretch out the left leg and hands on the shins or back behind your thigh. We're gonna lift the chest and come up into flexion. We're gonna go into a set of single leg stretch here. So we switch, 10 sets here, and 9, keep breathing, 8, stretch. Let's get that right knee back in, hold. Take your hands back behind your head. Twist toward the right knee, crisscross, 10 sets. One more each leg. Come back to center, take it down. Little rock. Okay, so while we're here, we're gonna hold on to our shins. Let your heads roll to the right. Just releasing the neck, and then come back through center, roll to the left. And back to center. Okay, we've got 2 more. We're gonna bring the right knee in again. Stretch the left leg out, let it hover. Stretch that right leg to the ceiling. So we're gonna start with a nice hammy stretch. If you can get your calf or ankle, great. Holding behind your thigh is fine too. Okay, so let's use our arms in this. We're gonna bring our chin towards our chest and then lift the chest up. Okay, so we're pulling the leg toward us. We're gonna do one slow scissor. The legs are just gonna pass each other in the center here. So we want a little hammy stretch on the left now, hip extension on the right. And now we've got 10 sets. 10, keep breathing. 9, so find that midline again. I'm definitely using my arms. 4, Okay, let's get that right leg back up again. And now we're gonna put our hands behind our heads. And we're gonna go crisscross scissors, rotate toward that right leg, scissor and twist for 10 sets. And 9. 8. Okay, everything back to center and roll it down. And side rock. Nice job. Oh, I forgot to say at the beginning that if the whole class is too much, just take a break or do half and recognize, how far you got. And then maybe next time, see if you can take it a little farther. Or, I don't know, just recognize that you'll be getting stronger the more you do this work. And, anything you can do. I always say this, but it's true. Every day is different. So if you didn't sleep well, if you shoveled, whatever happens, just kind of work through it and see what you can do with your day the next day. Okay, guys, let's bring our feet to the mat. Arms out to the sides. Turn so your palms are up. And then we're gonna try not to hit all of the props around here. We're gonna bring our knees to the floor on the left. And then let our heads turn to the right. And take a big breath. Okay, so here's that breathing again. So we've got that right rib cage, right side of our rib cages are up. And imagine that your inhale is expanding that, because that's what's happening, and stretching those muscles between the ribs. Try through the nose. And a big exhale, keep the belly pulling in as you exhale. And then let's bring faces to center, knees to center, knees to the floor. On the right side, turn your head to the left. Now we've created a lot of space in the left side of the rib cage. Stretching and inhale, big inhale. And then big exhale. And face to the center, knees to the center. Okay, we're gonna stretch our legs out. And I wanna do a roll up, but an assisted one. So we're gonna take our hands and stack them right behind our low back. Elbows can be on the mat, if that works for you. Depends on how our shoulders are feeling, right? If the shoulders are too tight, that may not work. We're gonna press our backs into our hands. So feel your hands getting pressed from your back, and they're pressing down into the mat. And then we're gonna bring chins toward the chest. And we're gonna roll up. Use your arms here. And then let your arms come forward and reach. So you might get your feet, you might be at your ankles or calves. And then gently pull yourself down a little closer to the legs. Don't bounce. Take a big breath in here, filling up your back. Try to breathe through your nose. And then your exhale pulls the belly in. Maybe you can even round your back a little bit more as you exhale. I like that cat position. Let's do one more. Inhale, fill up your back. And exhale, pull the belly in. Now release where you're holding, roll yourself up, and roll the shoulders. Okay, I want to do a little rotation sequence. It's just going to be seated. We're going to bend our right leg and bring the knee in. And take your left hand and wrap it around the front of your right knee. Got my left and right. Okay, lift up your spine. You're sitting as tall as you can. Now your right hand is going to kind of kickstand back behind you, and we're going to twist. So it's not just twisting your head. Try to think of twisting your whole rib cage. Then take your head a little farther if you can. See where that goes, and look with your eyes. Find a spot, see where you can go. And then I want you to untwist and come back to the center. Now do a little shoulder roll. We're gonna do that again. Okay, so left arm comes across, lift up real tall, take the right hand back, start twisting your spine, then twist your neck, and look with your eyes. Maybe you got a little farther, maybe not. It's okay. And then we're gonna untwist. Okay, let's switch legs. Lift up tall. Right hand comes around the front. We take the left hand back, lift in the center, and then rotate. And then turn your head and look. With your eyes, find a spot. Untwist, come back to center. Little shoulder roll, maybe a little regroup. Sometimes we roll back onto the hips. Just try and get as tall as you can. And then reach and twist. Turning your spine and your head. And then untwist. Come back to center. We're going to extend both legs out, and we're coming back around, rounding over the legs again. Let your head come down. Use your arms for a gentle pull. From here, just hold this for a second and flex your ankles so the tops of the feet come toward you, like we did from when we were standing earlier. And then release the ankles. Roll yourself up and roll the shoulders. Okay, guys, we're going into a side leg sequence. So I'm going to lay on my right side, left leg on top. Okay, take it down. We're gonna stack our hips. We're gonna find our balance. All right, so if this is really challenging for you, you can keep your bottom leg bent. That's gonna give you a little more stability. But remember, part of this is balance training. So challenge yourself, but make sure that it's effective for you and that you're not fighting for balance the whole time. So I always think of the top leg reaching away, reaching a little bit longer, and the top hand being here for balance. So let's point both feet. And we're going to press the bottom leg down into the mat and raise the top leg up, just to a spot where we feel the muscles contract, but we're not rotating that leg to kick it higher. And then we're going to flex at the ankle and take it down. So we'll do 10 lifts and lowers, reaching through the heel. And then take the top leg to about hip height. We're going to point the foot and we're going to circle. So let's bring the leg in front of the hip, above the hip, and behind, and pull right through center. So circling full range of that leg. Still pushing the bottom leg down into the mat. There's 5, I think. 6. Keep it stretching. And then we're going to reverse. So we take the leg behind the hip, feel the glutes engage back there, and then above the hip and in front. So we're looking for the hip extension again. So when it comes back behind that bottom leg, that's when we extend the hip. One more. Okay, bring it down. Bend your knees into your chest. Okay, it's because I need a little break. Straighten the legs back out. We're gonna do a stagger. So we're gonna go top leg hip height, then the bottom leg, and then bring them both down. Top, bottom, and down. Trying not to tense the upper body a lot. That's the hard part when you do this stagger. Make it come from the middle instead of up at the shoulders. 6, I think. Good, one more. Okay, bend those knees back and we're rolling onto our backs. Cross the left ankle over the right thigh. And then let the leg rotate. Arms at our sides. Press down into your right foot, big toe included, and then the hips come up. Squeeze your right butt. And then stretch your left leg to the ceiling. Okay, maybe you can push the hips up a little bit more, get a little more active muscle back there. Shoulders stay relaxed. Keep your left leg reaching to the ceiling. And then we're just slowly gonna roll our spines down, keeping the chest open. And then when our hips come down and into neutral, we're gonna slide out our right leg and bend the left knee and hold the shin with your hands. We're going to keep our right hand on our left shin, left arm along our side with the palm down. And then that left leg is going to travel across the body. So you feel yourself sort of roll to the right, bring your elbow down to the floor, and just hold. Feel your core engage. We're gonna roll ourselves out of this. Back in. We're gonna stretch our left leg to the ceiling, holding back behind the calf or thigh. Okay, so we're just going for a hammy stretch here. Holding on, sometimes we get a gripping in the neck and the top of the shoulders, so relax your shoulders and make the force come from back behind our shoulder blades. And let's do a little point flex here. And then the next time we point the foot, we're gonna circle the ankle, like we're trying to draw little circles on the ceiling. Get a nice range of motion, and then reverse. I did maybe 5. Okay, bringing the knee back into the chest. Yeah, there's that creak in the floor. And then straighten out both legs. We're gonna roll ourselves up again. I'm going with the stacked hands. You can start with your hands along your sides, or reaching to the ceiling, or way back. Pick something that you think will work for you. All right, so here's what I'm thinking. Push my back into my hands, push my hands into the mat, bring my chin toward the chest, roll it up. Using my arms, and then coming forward. That was a new word, chest. Okay, roll it up, roll the shoulders, flip sides. Laying on the left, right leg on top. Stretch it out. Stack your hips, point your feet. Use your hand for balance. Okay, lifts and lowers. Flex at the top, squeeze it down. Two more. Nice and steady. Okay, take the top leg to hip height. Point the foot. Now we circle. We're going to come in front of the hip, a little bit above, and pull through center. So with control, we're going to try not to swing the leg around. And they can be small. And then let's reverse. So I pull back, make sure it's coming back behind the hip, feel the glutes kick in, and then come around. Trying to stay still. And one more. Okay, bring the leg down, bend the knees in, tiny little break. Back out we go. Okay, so here's our stagger. Top leg to about hip height, then the bottom, and then down. Top, bottom, and down. Try not to tense upper body. You'll get a little bit of it, a little movement there maybe. Less as you get stronger. Great, 3 more. Okay, bend the knees back in, back onto our backs. Cross the right ankle over the left thigh, and then open out at the hip. Arms along our sides. Think of that pelvis reaching into neutral, creating a little space back there. Push into your left foot and raise. Okay, so glutes kick in, hips come up. Focus on the feeling of the stretch in the right hip. And then left leg, right leg to the ceiling. Can your hips go a little higher? Squeeze the left butt. Squeeze the right leg. So it's not just hanging out there. Mine was. Stretch it, squeeze it, and roll it down. Slide out your left, bring your right knee into your chest. Get a big stretch. Shoulders relax. So make that stability come from back behind the shoulder blades, not up by the neck. Okay, here's our rotation. So our left hand is on the right shin, right arm along our sides. We're crossing over, and then the left elbow comes to the mat. And then back through center. Stretch the right leg to the ceiling. So we're holding back behind the calf or thigh, ankle if you can get it. And then here's our little flex point sequence. Go slow, see if you can really increase that flexion. I feel that all the way down the legs, so it's an effective one. Now let's point, and then here are our circles. And then reverse. And bend the knee into the chest, bring the other one in. And let's get one more side rock. Feet to the mat, we're gonna flip over, do upper back extension here. So hips and legs heavy on the mat. Let's bring foreheads to the mat. And arms along our sides, shoulders away from our ears. Lift the belly button, feel the bones of the pelvis anchor into the mat. And then we're gonna raise our arms just enough to hover them, pull your fingers together, and then lift the chest up. So we're getting a little bit of upper back work. Should not be cranking into the low back. If that's bothering you, just go back down, maybe press in a child's pose or something, take a little break. We're in the home stretch here. Okay, so the chest is lifted, and I want you to take your arms and rotate them and place your palms against your thighs. And imagine your arms are stretching down toward the knees, which is gonna cause the chest to lift a little bit. Now stretch your arms longer, squeeze them, feel all the muscles in the arms working, and they're gonna come all the way down. Bring your head to the mat and let your arms relax, palms up. Let's do that again. Belly buttons lift. The pubic bones are anchored. The arms are gonna hover a little, and then the chest lift. Lift. Widen your shoulder, collarbones. Shoulders down. Turn so your palms are against your legs, and then lift, lift, lift. Now keep your chest lifted. We're gonna bend our arms and place our hands down on the mat and use our arms to go into more of an extension for the upper back. If it's bothering your low back, don't go up this high. Just looking for that stretch. Shoulders down. And then we're gonna lower all the way down. Let's bring the legs together, move the hands back, push through child's pose. Stretch your hips back. And then just work your way down toward your legs. And I've got my arms way out in front. That feels good. It's okay. Let your shoulders come up toward the ears. This time, usually I say don't do that, but that stretch does feel good. And then let's focus one more round on our breath. So our inhales through the nose, expand our rib cage. Our exhales through the nose, lift the belly away from our legs. Inhale, expand. Exhale, contract. Lift, lift, lift. Now, with our exhale, we're going to start to round our back. So let hips come up off the heels. And we're going to come up to a tall kneeling position. Arms come out to the sides and extend the upper back one more time. And then recenter, take it down, roll the shoulders, and then we're going to come up to standing. So come on up. We're going to do one more standing roll down, and then we're good to go. So comfortable stance with your feet. Inhale, raise. Full inhale, guys, through the nose. Exhale through the nose. Lift the belly, bend. Come back down. We're going to stay down here for just a second. So we're going to release the neck. I want you to think of the head being really heavy and nod your head yes. Get a nice big range of motion. Bring it back to the center and then turn it no, side to side. And back to the center. Okay, before we roll up, we're lifting the bellies. Lift from here. Feel the low back start to stretch as you lift the bellies as much as you can. Let the spine bend. Roll yourself up. And then roll the shoulders. All right, great job today. So if you needed to take a break partway through, that's okay. Just whatever's gonna work for you. That's what it's about. You guys are gonna get stronger the more you practice this, and I'm just glad that you joined me again this week, and I hope to see you again next week.